Because I run a job board, I talk to applicants almost every day. And many of the people I meet make the same mistake. They have no clear job search goals. So they apply everywhere, every day, all day long. You might think it's smart to send lots of applications. After all, it's a numbers game, right? It's not. The more you narrow your search, the easier everything gets, and the happier you'll be in your next job. Stop chasing every lead. Instead, focus on what you really want. Now, figuring out your goals can be hard, but we have a MaxList resource that can help. Finding focus in your job search. Go to maxlist.org/focus. Our free step-by-step MaxList guide will help you create your own job search goals. Get your copy today. Visit maxlist.org/focus. Again, that's maxlist.org/focus. This is Find Your Dream Job, the podcast that helps you get hired, have the career you want, and make a difference in life. I'm your host, Mac Pritchard. I'm also the founder of MaxList. It's a job board in the Pacific Northwest that helps you find a fulfilling career. Every Wednesday, I talk to a different expert about the tools you need to get the work you want. One day, you likely will take a career break. And when you're ready to return to work, you may have new goals, and employers may have questions about your time away. Heather Black is here to talk about how to relaunch yourself after a career break. She's the founder and CEO of Supermoms. Her company helps parents achieve flexible, well-paid tech careers after parenthood. Heather joins us from East Sussex in the United Kingdom. Well, let's get right into it, Heather. Why do people take career breaks?
I think there's many different backgrounds about why people take a break from work. And certainly at Supermoms, we have many people coming through our programs that have had to do just that. Some of the situations that we've found people are in are that they're having to travel with their partner for work. So they will be the one managing the relocation. If they have kids, managing them settling in and sort of just traveling with them. They might be part of the military or part of a job role that takes them around the world. But the reality is it can be difficult for them to find a flexible, well-paid role as part of that they can sort of maintain as they go. For some others, it's because they've had to look after elderly parents or family members. So they've been carers for people, which has taken them out of work for a while. And the more obvious one is for people who've had children who, have taken a maternity break and then decided to take longer off. Now, it might be because they are on a lower paid salary, so it doesn't make sense financially for them to return to work if they're paying out for childcare. And they are looking for more flexible, well-paid opportunity that makes it financially viable for them to have a career again rather than, look after their children or sort of stay at home. But we certainly have people who've been stay-at-home parents for sort of 12 years, 13 years before relaunching their career because they've wanted to spend that time with their family as well. And nobody should feel bad about that. They shouldn't feel like it's going to disadvantage them. And we'll talk through certainly some of the strategies to get to relaunch your career as part of the podcast today.
So people take the career break, and what motivates them to want to return to the workplace? Do you see some common situations where people say, I'm ready to go back and work outside the home?
Absolutely. I think, the motivation is sometimes that their kids have flown the nest, have gone through to sort of going off to university and scholarship. And then that's when they're ready to come back to work and they're looking to rekindle those skills and that motivation. For others, their child they've done the maternity leave, but what they're finding is that the job that they originally had isn't paying them enough or doesn't offer them the flexibility. So for them, they're looking for something else that is going to offer them that flexibility and salary that they can fit around looking after a child now as well. Whereas for others who've been out of work for a while, they might have lost their confidence and self-esteem because when you have a child, things can be very all-encompassing around looking after the child. And parents who are at home might feel that they've lost their sense of identity through not having a career and job anymore. So that can have various impacts on their mental health. And they are basically looking to reignite that, regain their superpowers, and rebuild their confidence through finding their next job opportunity. So I think there's various things that motivate people to relaunch.
What about challenges, Heather? What challenges do you see people face when it's time to relaunch a career after a break?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I work with our super mums that come through our program every week on the career advice session, and it's funny about how many of them are shy or don't want to share that they've had a career break. They almost feel bad or embarrassed about it. And, we shouldn't be, right? Because everyone has that situation where they could be taking time out for some reason, whether it's a sabbatical, whether you want to travel around the world, whether you are caring for somebody, whether you are a parent. None of us should feel bad about taking time out of work. It's a great privilege in some situations to be able to do that, and I think many of us want to be able to do that, and to make the most of life. And it's not just about having a career. So I don't think it's something to be shy of, because as a woman who might have, or a dad who might have taken time out of work to look after a child, that is actually no different, as I say, to somebody taking time out to go travelling or have a sabbatical to some degree. So there's going to be lots of situations where people are putting a career break on their CV. And as part of that, there might be lots of reasons behind why that is. So don't see it as a disadvantage. There's ways that you can, as I say, successfully relaunch and resell yourself back in to a new career opportunities, but there's steps you need to do that, like anybody else would do. So don't feel like it's alien. Don't feel like you're the only person in the world that's going to have that. You're not. It can be very normal for people to have career breaks for various reasons.
And I want to talk about how to do that relaunch in a moment. Before we get there, Heather, how do employers feel about candidates who've taken career breaks? What do you see in your work?
So I think for employers, they want to take people on who are actively trained and upskilled in some of the latest technology, most in-demand skills. So if you have had time out of work, you do have to put the effort and time and investment into upskilling yourself and getting you back into being employment ready, and looking at upskilling in those areas where there is in-demand skills. And employers are then going to want that, because what is quite prevalent really is that people who are in jobs quite often don't have the time to upskill sometimes in the most in demand or most recent skills, because they're so busy working they don't have time to do that. And so if you're unemployed, you're currently at actually a very great advantage at leaning in and getting some of those skills and things that employers are wanting. So if you're approaching an employer is looking for that. They are looking for people who are motivated, who are keen, who've invested in themselves, have invested in their training, can offer value to them. They're looking for attributes. And I talk about superpowers with the attributes. We talk about, the skills you've got, the knowledge you've got. And that might have been in a previous workplace and role. It might have been involuntary work. It might be you as a parent and how you manage your household, or if you've managed relocation to different countries. You will have certain attribute, skills and knowledge that you can apply and sell yourself into in any type of role. So it's thinking about what the employer is looking at from you, because if you go and apply for job opportunities where your skills and experience is 10 years out of date, then yes, you're not going to look as attractive to employers. And I think it's about realizing that and going, right, well, how do I take that step and make the bridge now?
Let's talk about that, because I think some listeners might worry hearing the point you're making that, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. I haven't gone to graduate school. I haven't worked outside the home during this particularly a long break of 5 or 10 years or more. So how do you recommend people get started? What have you seen work effectively for candidates who want to address the concerns that employers might have that an applicant's skills are out of date, or they simply haven't been part of the workforce for 5 or 10 years or more?
So let's talk about finding your superpowers. Now, when I work with parents, I get them to reflect on actually their attributes first, to think about what type of job role might suit them. And once they figure out what job role might suit them, then that's where to focus in on the training. So I do a quiz with parents who come through who are interested in our program. And I ask them, if they are playing with their kids or they're talking to their friends and family, there's different kind of buckets that we kind of can put ourselves into. So if they are that typical person where they are very much the counsellor, the facilitator, they like listening to people, solving people's problems, they're always a listening ear for their kids or their friends and their family. In our world at Supermums, we would say you'd make a great business analyst, because a business analyst listens to people's problems, solves them, helps come up with solutions. And it's very much that people person role. Equally, business analyst might be one job role, but then also you might be really great in sort of a sales role. You might be good in a counselling role. You might be good in a paternal role where you're looking after people. So thinking about, whether those skills suit you could lead you down certain career paths.
Let's pause there. We're going to take a break, and I want to continue this conversation. Stay with us. When we return, Heather Black will continue to share her advice on how to relaunch yourself after a career break. Most of us are careful with our personal information. You likely don't give your phone number or email address to people you don't know well, and especially not to strangers. And to protect your privacy, when you look for your next job, you may choose to set up special email and voicemail accounts to communicate with employers. So why are your inbox and phone filling up with spammy messages from people you've never met? Data brokers across the world scour the web and public records for names, addresses, and other personal information and sell it for a profit. And this can lead to spam, identity theft, and the loss of control of your personal data, not only during a job search, but throughout your life. You can ask data brokers to delete your personal information, but doing this yourself would take hundreds of hours. There's a better way. Incogni reaches out to data brokers on your behalf, requests removal of your records, and deals with any objections. And because many brokers continue to collect your information, Incogni takes care that your data stays off the market by making repeated removal requests. Take control of your personal data today. Use promo code DREAMJOB to get an exclusive 60% off an annual Incogni plan at incogni.com/dreamjob. Are you putting off that dream trip because you're nervous about not speaking the language? Don't sweat it. Babbel's got your back. Babbel offers more than a dozen languages, and you can learn at your own pace using material tailored to your level, interests, and availability. I've studied and spoken Spanish for a long time, and Babbel gives me the level of instruction that matches my experience. But whatever your language skill, Babbel's tips and tools are approachable and accessible. One of the things I like best about Babbel are the culture bits that deliver content and insider knowledge about the language. I was a Latin American Studies minor at the University of Iowa, and early in my career, I took a job that brought me regularly to Central America. So I appreciate the cultural knowledge that Babbel shares. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove Babbel works. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners, at babbel.com/dreamjob. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/dreamjob, spelled BABBEL.com/dreamjob, babbel.com/dreamjob. Rules and restrictions may apply. We're back at the Max List studio. I'm talking with Heather Black. She's the founder and CEO of Supermums. Her company helps parents achieve flexible, well-paid tech careers after parenthood. Heather joins us from East Sussex in the United Kingdom. Now, Heather, before the break, we were talking about how to relaunch yourself after a career break. And in our first segment, We talked about the reasons why people take career breaks, how employers think about breaks, and we started to walk through the steps you recommend people take when coming back into the workforce. And you talked about the importance of knowing what you offer and the skill and thinking about the skills you have and the experiences you've had, and also the importance of knowing the job you want. Let's talk more about that. Why is it important, Heather, to be clear about the opportunities that you're most interested in when you're coming back to work after a break?
I think it's the biggest barrier to moving forward if you don't have clarity on which career path to go down, because you just get that rabbit in headlights type of situation. So I think leaning in and learning about different opportunities, talking to people, attending events or learning opportunities to learn about different career paths and what the different training options are is vital, really, to make an informed decision about where you want to go. So at Supermums, we run something called the Relaunch Your Career Masterclass. People can do a free training course to learn more about what the course entails, what the product entails that they would learn, the key skills. And that just gives people all the information they need to know to say, is this right for me or not, without any sort of financial commitment to training. And so you have to be prepared to commit that initial time to research. As I say, talk to your friends and family. 60% of people that come to our program have heard about it through word of mouth because they're talking to people. So don't be afraid to talk to people, to learn, to listen, to participate in things so you can make that identification of the right step forward for you.
And when you're having those conversations, if you're not taking part in an organized program like Supermums, what have you seen work for people who are doing this on their own? You mentioned exploring different careers, having conversations with others. Who should you reach out to, Heather? And what kinds of questions should you ask to get clear about the career you want to tackle next?
So I think there's two answers to this. The first is deciding if it's right for you or not. And the first is just to talk to people about what understand your skills and experience. So I talked previously about your superpowers. What is it you're really good at? What do you enjoy? Think about how that plays out in your life, and think about what you've really enjoyed at work before. So know and own who you are. And if you're not clear on that, get a career coach to help you. The second is then talk to people in different industries and really understand, is this right for me? Is it going to give me the flexibility? Is it going to give me the pay? And what does it offer? Now, once you've decided on the path to go down, there's some key ingredients that I think are really important to make sure you do actually get to that end goal. And we combined all these ingredients at Supermums into our package. So the first is you want to have really good quality assured training that employers will recognise and, appreciate that they're on your CV. So you want a quality assured training provider that's got good reviews, that's going to be recognised as quality training on your CV. The second is you want to find a mentor who can provide you with one-to-one mentoring support during your learning journey and who verify the skills that you're learning and your expertise, because then they can act as a reference for you as part of what you do. And thirdly, you want to try and get some work experience in that industry to put on your CV as well, because equally you might do that for free initially, you might get that paid, but what that means is that you can add that onto your CV, your LinkedIn profile, and again provide another reference. And all of that we embedded into the Supermums program. The other element to it is also creating a community, finding other people like you who are going through this career relaunch journey. The biggest things that the Supermums feedback to is that they really relish the opportunity to be part of a cohort, a group of people that are all on this relaunch journey together, because they find they really motivate and support each other. So there's definitely kudos in that. And if you can find all those key ingredients and organise that yourself for your chosen career path, then that's going to give you the best chance of success.
So get experience as either an intern or a volunteer. Be clear about the career you want. Connect with others who are doing a career relaunch. What other tips do you have, Heather, for someone who is relaunching their career and wants to pursue those opportunities?
I think the key thing is to start building your network and to have allies by your side. You need to make sure that your energy is good, that you're looking after yourself, you're tapping into energy, whether that's running or cycling or reading or meditation. Like, in order to progress this and achieve your goals, you need to have a good energy state and you need to feel good and confident. The second to say is to surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up and empower you and support you on that journey. And again, it's the reason why, people work with us as supermums, because they always say, oh, you've really got a supportive team. You want to find that tribe around you who are on this journey and are cheering you on along the way, because it is hard. Every day you're going to have days where you think that imposter syndrome is telling you that you can't do it, you're never going to get there. That's normal. Everybody has that. But it's about overcoming that through having, good energy, people around you cheering you on, that telling you, yes, you can.
So we've talked about the importance of knowing the opportunity you want and also pursuing that opportunity. I know another step that you recommend people take when relaunching a career after a break is to sell yourself to employers. What's the best way to do that, Heather?
You want to sell yourself well to employers, and it's been interesting because I've been working with people on their CVs every week and looking at their bio, their elevator pitch effectively and how they sell themselves. And we can be our own worst critic, like getting that right. It's really interesting. But I can, somebody else looking at it can be like, oh my God, you've got all this amazing experience, industry background, etc., etc. So I think the way that I look at it with individuals is, look at your years of experience in different industries, within different companies, your different skill sets, your different attributes. And you really want to own and package that in that bio, in that elevator pitch. Like, you've got a lot to offer to people, and put your best foot forward, because it's the first thing that people will read to grab their attention. So I have done some personality profiling tools before. They've helped me understand who I am and what my key traits are. And you might do some personality profiling tools and you think, oh, that's not me at all. Well, that's fine. Okay, if it doesn't really align, you find the one that does fit. But I have to say, over the years, having done some of these tools and assessments, it has really helped me sort of understand who I am and what my superpowers are. And if you aren't confident in your superpowers, then it's worth doing a little bit of work on that, either doing some personality profiling, as I say, working with a career coach or somebody who can support you with your CV to help really pull out those strengths that you have, to believe in yourself. Because if you don't sell yourself in your CV, you don't sell yourself at interview, you're not going to get that job opportunity, because you won't sell yourself, to get to that end goal. So it really is about exploring yourself, believing in yourself, and really consolidating it. And sometimes having a third party can help you do that.
Well, it's been a terrific conversation, Heather. Now tell us, what's next for you?
So we'd love to support you, to help you explore your career. You can come to us at supermums.org and find out more about the career opportunities that we offer people, and you can find out if there's a right fit for you. So please do visit our website at supermums.org. Visit the page called What is a Salesforce Career? And we'd love to help you if this is a right fit.
Well, terrific. And again, as you mentioned, listeners can learn more about you and your work by visiting the supermums.org website. And I know you have a special landing page, supermums.org/what is a Salesforce career. And we'll be sure to include that in the show notes. Now, Heather, given all the great advice you've shared today, what's the one thing you want a listener to remember about how to relaunch yourself after a career break?
Find your superpower. Obviously, we talk about supermums. It's about knowing who you are and what you're really good at and believing in yourself, because that's going to carry you through the whole journey.
Next week, our guest will be Ann Lepore. She's the Executive Director of Career Initiatives for Willamette University, where she oversees career programming, education, and advising. You may change jobs 5 to 7 times in your career. And to find your next position, you need to have clear goals and know what you offer employers. Join us next Wednesday when Ann Lepore and I talk about why you should never stop planning your career. Until next time, thanks for letting us help you find your dream job. This show is produced by Max List. Susan Thornton Hoff schedules our guests and writes our newsletter. Lisa Kislenberry Anderson manages our social media. Our sound engineer and editor is Matt Biarello. Dawn Moe creates our transcripts, and our music is by Freddie Trujillo. This is Mac Pritchard. See you next week. Have you ever been asked this in a job interview? Tell me about a time when you didn't agree with your boss. What would you say? This is what's called a behavioral interview question, and it's a common tactic. Employers use this kind of question to explore your fit for a job based on your past experience. It can be an easy question to answer if you have the right strategy. I show you how to answer these gotcha questions in our free Max List guide, 100 Behavioral Interview Questions You Need to Know. To get your copy, visit maxlist.org/questions. You'll also learn 4 simple steps for answering any behavioral interview question. Again, that's maxlist.org/questions. You can count on getting these questions in your next interview. Why not get the answers before you walk into the interview room? Go to maxlist.org/questions.